Greek Island Holidays, can I help you?
Yes, I hope so. I have a friend who's just come back from Corfu, and she's recommended some apartments in Arilus. She thought they might be on your list.
Arilus, let me see. Can you give me the names?
Yes, the first's Rose Garden Apartments. I'd like to go with another friend in the last week of October.
Well, we've got a lovely studio flat available at that time. I'm sure you'd enjoy the entertainment programme there too, with Greek dancing in the restaurant.
And the cost for each of us?
£219.
That sounds very reasonable. I'm just jotting down some notes. Now, the second one she mentioned was called Blue Bay.
Blue Bay. Yes, in fact, that's very popular, and it has some special features.
Really?
The main attraction is the large swimming pool with salt water.
Much healthier, I understand.
That's right. And it isn't far from the beach either, only 300 metres. And only around half a kilometre to some shops, so you don't have to be too energetic.
Is it much more expensive than the first one?
Let me just check. I think at the time you want to go, it's around £260. No, £275 to be exact.
Right, I've got that. Now, there are just 2 more apartments to ask you about. I can't read my own writing. Something to do with sunshine, is it?
I think you meant the Sunshade Apartments. They're on a mountainside.
Any special features?
Yes, each room has its own sun terrace, and there are shared barbecue facilities.
Ooh, sounds lovely.
Yes, it is rather well equipped. It also provides water sports. It has its own beach. There are facilities for water skiing.
Any kite surfing? My friend's quite keen.
Not at the hotel, but I'm sure you'll find some in Arilus. There's also satellite TV in the apartments.
And how much is that one?
£490 with 2 sharing.
You mean £245 each?
I'm afraid not. Each person has to pay that amount, and there must be at least 2 in an apartment.
Oh, I don't think that would be within our budget, unfortunately. And the last one sounds a bit expensive too. The Grand?
Actually, it's quite reasonable. It's an older style house with Greek paintings in every room and a balcony outside.
Sounds nice. What are the views like?
Well, there are forests all round, and they hide a supermarket just down the road, so that's very useful for all your shopping needs. There's a disco in the area too.
And the price?
£319 at that time, but if you leave it till November, it goes down by 40%.
Too late, I'm afraid.
Well, why don't I send you a brochure with full details, Miss...
Nash. But don't worry about that. I'm coming to Upminster soon, and I'll call and get one. I just wanted to get an idea first.
Well, that's fine. We've got plenty here when you come.
If you've got a minute, could I just check a couple of points about insurance? I got one policy through the post, but I'd like to see if yours is better.
Fine. What would you like to know?
Well, the one I've got has benefits, and then the maximum amount you can claim. Is that like yours?
Yes, that's how most of them are.
Well, the first thing is cancellation. If the holiday's cancelled on the policy I've got, you can claim £8,000.
We can improve on that, Miss Nash. For Greek Island Holidays, our maximum is £10,000.
That's good. Of course, our holiday won't even cost £1,000 together.
It's still sensible to have good cover. Now, if you go to hospital, we allow £600.
Yes, mine's similar.
And we also allow a relative to travel to your holiday resort.
My policy just says their representative will help you.
You can see there's another difference there. And what happens if you don't get on the plane?
Nothing, as far as I can see on this form.
Don't you have missed departure?
No, I'll just jot that down.
We pay up to £1,000 for that, depending on the reason. And we're particularly generous about loss of personal belongings, up to £3,000, but not more than £500 for a single item.
Then I'd better not take my laptop.
Not unless you insure it separately.
Okay, Thanks very much for your time. You've really been helpful. Can I get back to you? Your name is...
Ben Ludlow. That's Ludlow. I'm the assistant manager here. I'll give you my number. It's 081 260 543 216.
But didn't I phone 081 260 567 294? That's what I've got on the paper.
That's the main switchboard. I've given you my direct line.
Right. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, Stretton Festival box office. How can I help you?
Oh, hello. My family and I are on holiday in the area and we've seen some posters about the festival this week. Could you tell me about some of the events, please?
Of course.
First of all, are there still tickets available for the jazz band on Saturday?
There are, but only £15. The £12 seats have all been sold.
OK, and the venue is the school, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. The secondary school. Make sure you don't go to the primary school by mistake. And there's an additional performer who isn't mentioned on the posters. Carolyn Hart is going to play with the band.
Oh, I think I've heard her on the radio. Doesn't she play the oboe or flute or something?
Yes, the flute. She usually plays with symphony orchestras, and apparently this is her first time with a jazz band.
Well, I'd certainly like to hear her. Then the next thing I want to ask about is the duck races. I saw a poster beside a river. What are they exactly?
Well, you buy a yellow plastic duck, or as many as you like. They're £1 each. And you write your name on each one. There'll be several races, depending on the number of ducks taking part. And John Stevens, a champion swimmer who lives locally, is going to start the races. All the ducks will be launched into the river at the back of the cinema. Then they'll float along the river for 500 metres, as far as the railway bridge.
And are there any prizes?
Yes. The first duck in each race to arrive at the finishing line wins its owner free tickets for the concert on the last night of the festival.
You said you can buy a duck. I'm sure my children will both want one.
They're on sale at a stall in the market. You can't miss it. It's got an enormous sign showing a couple of ducks.
OK, I'll go there this afternoon. I remember walking past there yesterday. Now, could you tell me something about the flower show, please?
Well, admission is free and the show is being held in Bythwaite Hall.
Sorry, how do you spell that?
Bythwaite. Bythwaite.
Is it easy to find? I'm not very familiar with the town yet.
Oh, you won't have any problem. It's right in the centre of Stretton. It's the only old building in the town, so it's easy to recognise.
I know it. I presume it's open all day.
Yes, but if you'd like to see the prizes being awarded for the best flowers, you'll need to be there at 5 o'clock. The prizes are being given by a famous actor, Kevin Shapless. He lives nearby and gets involved in a lot of community events.
Gosh, I've seen him on TV. I'll definitely go to the prize giving.
Right.
You'll hear two students discussing what they will do during the summer break. First, you will have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Pause recording for 30 seconds. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
It's less than 2 months to the summer break. What are you going to do?
Slow down, Celine. We've still got our exams to get through. Shouldn't you be looking through your revision notes rather than browsing the summer camp website?
Oh, come on, Simon. There's plenty of time for revision. It says here that we've only got until the end of this month to book a place.
What for?
The summer camp, of course. Haven't you been listening?
Of course I have. But unlike you, I'm working. How do you know I want to come anyway?
Oh, stop messing around. You were only talking about it last month.
OK, so what's included in the package? And more importantly, how much will it cost? My student grant won't stretch that far.
Well, there are 3 different packages. The first one is the shortest course, and that one should certainly suit your budget. It's a 10-day break in the west of Scotland, starting from mid-July, and it costs only £175. What do you think?
So far, so good. Go on.
Well, it includes provisions for 3 meals a day, cooked by you, of course, camping equipment and facilities. You've got to bring your own sleeping bag, though, and activities such as hiking in the mountains and canoeing and swimming in the nearby lake, or should I say loch. And that's about it, really.
Sounds very healthy, but I'm not too sure about swimming in the lake. And how about transportation? How are we supposed to get there?
Yeah, that's not very special. It says here that you have to catch the train to Invergarry, and from there's a special minibus service that will take you to the site.
Inver where?
Invergarry. Anyway, the second package is better. It's at the end of June and it's 15 rather than the usual 14 days. I suppose it's to allow for your journey, settling in and all that.
Is that in Scotland too?
Not that far away, actually. It's in the Lake District, near a lake called Derwent Water.
More lakes?
Let me finish. It's got everything from the cheaper package plus water skiing, orienteering and horse riding.
I like the sound of horse riding, but you still haven't told me how much it is.
Just a minute. Here it is. It says here that it's £295, but that includes the coach journey to and from campus.
And the last one?
Well, this one's longer than the others, 3 weeks to be exact, and you won't need to mess about with camping equipment. You get to stay in a luxury caravan with its own kitchen, comfortable beds and toilet. You'll have to share though, and another good thing is no washing up. You'll have all your meals provided on site. There's a decent looking restaurant with a fixed menu.
Where is it?
It's near a place called Newquay in Cornwall. You can try out different water sports like surfing, bodyboarding and sailing. Or, if that's not your thing, there are outward bound activities such as climbing, abseiling and caving and potholing.
So how much will that set me back?
Well, it is a 3-week vacation in August, so it's bound to be more expensive. It says here that it's even got a games room and Wi-Fi facilities. Oh yes, how much was it? £526. Can't see anything about transport, though. What do you reckon? Is that too much?
I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to my bank manager.
Right. If we could all settle down, we can make a start. Now, I'd like you to take out the handouts that I gave you in the last seminar. I hope that you've all had time to look at them. You'll be referring to them a lot over the next few months. All the basic information that you'll require to write your dissertation is covered on the sheet. The stages you need to cover, criteria that needs to be met, the book list, and a full page of helpful tips are all included. But I'm sure that you've got some questions of your own, so fire away.
Yes, Professor Jenkins. The list of books is really long. How do we choose which ones to read, and how many should we be looking at?
Good question, James. Well, you're looking at a minimum of 10. Any fewer and your bibliography will look rather thin. Of course, in most cases, it won't be necessary to read the entire book. The index in the front will guide you, and you should be able to choose which parts are necessary once you've made a rough plan of what you're going to write. As for which ones, well, the first 4 on the list, which are the main reference books, are more or less compulsory. You won't be able to form the basis for your argument without them. I suggest that initially you read them and then, after brainstorming some ideas, choose from the remaining books which ones you think would be useful. There will be individual tutorials held to discuss your choices, but if you can't wait, you could always email me a rough outline of your plan and proposed lists earlier. Which reminds me, don't miss next Tuesday's tutorial, which I strongly recommend you all to attend, and it's on research methods. You'll be given some useful advice on how to find and approach your materials, along with the opportunity to ask any outstanding questions you may have. And in the one on Thursday, you will have the chance to go through some of the choices you've made as a group. Is that clear?
Yes, thanks. So when do we need to submit our draft?
Well, you'll have 3 weeks to put together your bibliography and then another 2 to finalize your draft. So that will take you into the 2nd week of November, which is when it needs to be handed in by. So all being well, you should be well into the essay itself by Christmas.